Welcome to the Headless Professor videos. Today we're talking about the teleological argument for God's existence. This argument is also known as the argument of design, and it has been around a very long time, but it received its foremost formulation in the 18th century by an Anglican bishop named Paley. The argument has two very simple premises. The first is that there is a great deal of intricate design within nature. This design can be seen in the motion of the planets and also in the minute structure of organ systems such as the human eye. The other premise that goes along with this is that the existence of design indicates the existence of a designer. The conclusion, therefore, is that God, the designer of the universe, must therefore exist. Now, this argument is fairly straightforward, and it has been around a long time, and it was considered a very powerful argument for the existence of God. It involves very straightforward logic. We observe an effect and infer an essential cause. The effect would be the existence of design within nature. The cause, which is assumed to be essential for that effect, is the existence of a designer, God. Now, the biggest problem for this argument has occurred over the last 150 years with the advent of evolutionary theory. Darwin has given us yet another explanation for how we might account for the existence of design within nature. It simply evolved that way. Now, if you go back to the basis of this logic, observing an effect and inferring an essential cause, if we have another possible way that design could exist, then God's existence is no longer an essential cause of that. This particular argument is a very synthetic argument. It is dependent upon empirical evidence. For the last 150 years, we've seen some empirical evidence in the form of evolutionary theory and data which challenges this teleological argument. Prior to that time, the evidence simply did not exist or had not found the proper theory to give it enough scientific status. Even if the anti-evolutionary forces had enough evidence to refute the current formulations of the theory of evolution, the teleological argument itself remains synthetic. It is intrinsically vulnerable to the next scientific discovery, the next data set, the next reformulation of a theory, which could also account for design in nature. A more telling problem of the teleological argument is that it pretty much misses the point. It doesn't tell us why we should commit ourselves to God and worship Him. At most, this particular argument is deist rather than theist. It tells us, yes, a creator God did exist. It gives us no basis for seeking a personal relationship with that God. If you like these Headless Professor videos or have any other comments, contact me and let me know what you think.
These dances, these masks, these strange rituals have meaning. They describe precisely the relationship between a remote African tribe and the heavens. This tribe believes all life comes from a distant dark star, invisible to the naked eye. Recently, modern science was able to find this star and confirm its existence. Now we must ask, how did a primitive people, lacking instruments of any kind, discover a dark star hidden deep in space? In Central Africa, among fortress-like cliffs on the southern edge of the Sahara Desert, live a people called the Dogon. 1,000 years ago, fleeing from warring tribes, the Dogon found refuge here. The Dogon have endured and preserved mysterious ancient knowledge. Knowledge of an invisible star and its movements through the heavens. The hum of the bull roar is believed to be the voice of the sacred star. It calls initiates to a ceremony high in the cliffs. Dating back to a time when the Western world was locked in the Dark Ages, this ritual has taken place year after year. During the ceremony, the full spectrum of Dogon knowledge is revealed and passes from generation to generation. A circle within a circle depicts Saturn and its rings, which can only be seen with a telescope. A large circle and 4 satellites. The planet Jupiter and its moons. Most remarkable is this symbol. It represents the orbit of the Dogon star, a phenomenon deep in stellar space. Yet, no such orbiting star is visible from the Earth. It was not until this century that Western astronomers began to suspect its existence. A desert tribe called the Dogon, isolated in the African wilderness, may have identified a star invisible to the unaided eye. How is this possible? How could the Dogon possess this sophisticated astronomical information? Approximately 200,000 Dogon live in 300 villages scattered through their land. Throughout most of Africa, the simple melodies of the shepherd's flutes reflect the unchanging pattern of village life. On the surface, there is little to separate the Dogon from countless other tribes. What makes the Dogon different is a unique social harmony maintained by strong tradition. Among these people, murder, theft, and suicide is all but unknown. Greed is rare. Disputes are settled by debate in open forum. A goat has broken down a neighbor's wall and damaged his crops. The farmer demands repayment. The goat's owner insists it is the farmer's fault. He should have built a better wall. The elders decide that indeed the wall should be stronger, that both men should rebuild it and replant the crop. Millet beer marks the settlement. The Dogon believe in a perfectly ordered existence. They believe they are a part of something much greater than themselves. That each task, however menial, reaffirms their integral connection with the rhythm of the universe. In myths and symbols, the Dogon link the lowly with the lofty, the known with the unknown. All human activity is inscribed from the origin of man to the mystery of death. The spinning and weaving of cotton describes the Dogon myth of creation. Each strand by itself is of little importance, but united by a guiding intelligence, they become an ordered fabric. Planting, harvesting, the winnowing of grain from chaff, each act of Dogon life has a practical and a spiritual value. The study of the Dogon has lured men like Dr. Hans Guggenheim, an anthropologist from Harvard University. He has probed the relationship between the Dogon and their mysterious dark star.
In order to discover this mystery, the mystery of Dogon knowledge about the stars, we have to begin by looking at the inside of their granary. Because the Dogon link in their knowledge the science of growing grain and the understanding of the stars.
All ancient civilizations have needed knowledge of the heavens for the growing of grain. Just as ancient astronomers studied the positions of the sun, moon, and stars, Amandingi, the elder, climbs to a place among the rocks to observe the sun as it moves along a heelstone. He will determine the exact time when his people must sow the seed that will ensure their survival. This land is normally a desert. The rainy season is short. Planting must begin at precisely the right moment. The harvest which follows must last through the harsh months of drought. Life or death of the tribe depends on the accuracy of observation by men like Amandingi, the Dogon astronomer. As Amandingi studies the heavens, is it possible that he can reach beyond the visible universe? Is it possible that he can sense phenomena deep in space? The Hogan, the high priest of Eru, is the chief of Dogon religious knowledge. Selected more than 30 years ago by signs and prophecies, he lives a prisoner in a small temple compound. The Hogan is adored and provided for by his people, but cannot be touched by man or woman. He is the living repository of all that is known. His isolation from worldly needs and worldly concerns ensures that the sacred knowledge he keeps will remain pure. Should the Hogan be contaminated by human contact, he must be killed. Away from the clamor of village life, in caves and rock shelters, the teachings of the Hogan are renewed. Tribal legend tells us that beings called Numo descended from the sacred star and appeared before the Dogon ancestors. The Dogon were entrusted by the Numo with 366 symbols given without meaning. The Dogon were charged with interpreting them and preserving the information for future generations. The symbols reveal an astonishing scope of astronomical knowledge, an infinite number of stars and spiraling worlds. After more than 5 years among the Dogon people, Dr. Guggenheim has gradually gained the confidence of the Dogon elders and acceptance into the inner circle of secret knowledge.
The Dogon belief the universe was born in a vast explosion, and as it opened up, everything that we know about and everything that the Dogon know about in the world came pouring out, and nothing was left except a shell. This empty shell became the star that they call the Pontolo, and that we call Sirius B.
Yeah.
One God live,
Marcus,
one God give.
Merlin,
The fox I
God
give
Psalms 1.
is one God live.
God Psalms 1.
The fox I give
Superman,
is one God live.
Superman,
God undead,
Elohim,
God undead,
love him,
God just can't dead.
praise him,
Jah just can't die, and that's the fox I give.
Elohim,
One God live, one God live, one God see everything. One God live, one God live, one God makes everything. One Jah, one God makes everything. One Jah, one God hear everything. One God feels everything. One God seals everything. So one Jah, all things were made by Jah. One Jah, Rastafari live. One aim, all things were made by Jah. One aim, Jah Rastafari live. One God smell everything. One aim, one God makes everything. One name, one God knows everything. One God can't fail. One destiny, one God taste everything. One God give everything. One Lord, one God knows everything. Jah Rastafari live. Sweet and bitter
God in question,
in the gutter. Rastafari live.
Washington Garden,
Sweet and bitter
Garden of Life,
down in the gutter. One God cannot
God
die.
on his wife,
One God. God is a baby.
King Alpha,
That's just the fact.
Queen Amiga,
God is a baby.
Marcus,
God is a baby. Rastafari live.
Merlin,
One God. Back with Queen. God get young. God hang out his tongue. Rastafari live. God get young. Hang out his tongue. Then the rain come down. Lightning flash. Thunder roll. Earth shake. Earthquake. Lightning flash. Thunder roll.
live and direct,
Earthquake.
I on the wreck, I
Earthquake.
over wreck,
Tree
and I
shake.
undertake.
China Gate.
Satan, are you me a chant?
China Gate.
Dayton, are you me a chant?
China's Gate.
Layton, are you me a chant?
China.
Hate man, are you me a chant?
One God.
Hate God, and cry,
One aim.
hate the Lord, and die
One destiny.
in my yard, and cry, Satan,
Jah Rastafari. Kabbalah.
go back Satan,
Words from my head. Allah, Allah.
go back catch
One
man,
God I'm dead.
go back Dr. Hook,
Abba. Abba Jah. God I'm dead.
Go back Dr.
Abba.
Hook.
Abba Jah.
and Peter Pan. Rastafari can't be.
Cheng Cheng.
Rastafari one God.
Peng Peng.
Rastafari
Earthquake, enough than enough. Earthquake, earthquake. Yeah. One God, bigger than the big, and one God, wider than the wide, and one God just can't die. Jah Rastafari live.